side, just what kind of match do you expect?
I think they'll want to come here and get off on the front foot. Obviously, probably disappointed with the result last week against Bay FC. Um, but yeah, they want to get off the mark. They want points on the board, and that's what we fully expect, and that's what we're looking to do as well. We're really disappointed with the result, not the performance. I thought the performance was great, but we need to get points on the board as well. So I feel like it'll be two teams who will be going out to get 3 points.
Well, how tough is it just kind of scouting a brand new team that has played a single game? Like, what have you kind of seen from them in terms of their play style, and how much can you read just from one game?
Yeah, I think it's even harder when they're down to 10 players after 20 minutes as well. So we'll have a look at it. Obviously, they'll have set principles. There'll be certain personnel as well that we're aware of. But yeah, I think there's a lot of focus on ourselves. Can we build on what we did this past Sunday against Seattle? There was a lot of great moments. We just obviously didn't put the ball in the back of the net, and I think sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. And even when you do it, it gets called off as well. So that was disappointing. But yeah, I think we were entertaining on Sunday, but performances, entertainment, hard work, all the things we talk about, passion. We need to get points on the board, and I think that's going to be our mindset going into the game against Denver.
We used to joke that just about every NWSL team had a former Pride player, and just so happens that both expansion teams have former Pride players.
Yeah.
With Ali and with Carson.
Yeah.
Just, how do you kind of, obviously they were just here last year, just having them back in town and playing against them. Obviously they're going to have something to play for as well.
Yeah, they're great players. They were here during a really successful time for us, and so yeah, credit to them and what they did for the football club. Obviously, they've moved on; they're on different paths now and representing Denver, and we know some of their tendencies and their qualities, what they possess. But yeah, it'll be probably a nice occasion for them to come back, and as long as they don't get away with anything, that's going to be our priority.
This past game, you played a lot of younger players, players getting their first starts, their first minutes, and their first professional experience. A lot of those players, played in positions that they weren't necessarily comfortable with. You kind of worked with them over the off season. Just in terms of that process of kind of working with them and getting them to play, various positions. What has that kind of process been like? Just not only this year, but over the past couple years, since you've been working with so many different players of kind of getting them more versatile.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the first time where we've had influx of young players. I think 23, we had a lot of young players come into the football club, and they had to adapt and adjust to our philosophy and our style of play. I would say probably in this moment in time, they're ahead of schedule in terms of what we're expecting from them, and that's due to injuries and other things. But I thought they did terrific. I thought they came in, really made a difference. I think Seven, obviously getting her first start for the football club as well, was phenomenal. And now she's set new standards for herself, and she has to live up to them. But this is nothing new for us. We've had to do this over the course of the last 4 years, and so yeah, I think you always remember your debut, and I think it's really good for them to get that out of the way. But now it's okay. Second game, third game, fourth game, the travel, the different types of teams that you're playing against. That's the real test. What's presenting to them now. So yeah, I think they're in good hands. I think the obviously senior players and the leadership around them will guide them and help them along this journey.
In a perfect world for you, in terms of getting these players kind of acclimated, do you prefer kind of a almost trial by fire method, or do you prefer to kind of work them in slowly and methodically in terms of getting them more comfortable?
Yeah, I think you have to have a method. You you have to test them. You have to put them in situations to see, their characteristics, how they step up. Bright lights are on. Crowds there cheering. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with adversity? You 1-0 down. You're up against some phenomenal players in this league, and so you have to throw them in, and that's one of the ways to develop as an individual and as a young player. But also, you want to make sure that you're looking after them and the expectations aren't too high, and the pressure on them isn't too high so early on. And so, yeah, they're having to play a role for us, and I think that's due because we have a few experienced players out right now. But take your opportunity, go make a name for yourself as well. People may not know who you are right now, but in a couple of games' time, they may know who you are, and you could be a threat, whether it's defending or attacking. So it's a great opportunity for them, and yeah, I think after the first game, they can relax a little bit because it's out of the way, and now start to progress forward.
From a coaching and scouting standpoint, how do you kind of discern what players can play what positions? Like, what do you see in terms of like skill sets or just kind of mentality of where you can feel like a forward can play a defender or vice versa or midfield, etc.?
Yeah, I think it's multiple things. I think technically, physically, and mentally. What characteristics do those players bring? And although they may play a certain position for college, that might be a need for that college team, whereas it may not necessarily be a need for us. And so, can we mix up their game? Can we get more out of them? Versatility is a really big thing when we look to recruit players because we're so fluid in that. Like, I'm just using the attack, for instance. We're so fluid. A 9 can pull out wide. So do you have those certain qualities as a wide player that we need in those positions? Or if you're a wide player, you may be a 9, and so there's certain qualities, technically and physically, that you need. So yeah, it's a full assessment. How did they complement each other as well? Again, it was the first time Barbara and Jackie got a chance to play on the same field together. So how did they complement each other with obviously Seven up there as a forward as well? So yeah, I think the players around you can bring the best out of you. And so when we look to select or recruit, we look at who can bring out the best in each other in those moments.